Stay attached before you stay impressive. Leading under pressure without losing your soul. The quiet drift, when pressure trains you to disconnect. Almost nobody wakes up and decides, "Today I will drift from Jesus." It happens in smaller ways. You answer the first message before you take your first breath. You skim the calendar and feel your stomach tighten, so you speed up to stay ahead of that feeling. You tell yourself you will connect with God later, once you get past the urgent things, as if your soul can run on fumes until lunchtime. Pressure trains leaders to live on reflex. You can love Jesus and still start operating like the whole thing rests on you. You believe the verse, you can quote the verse, and yet you move through the day with clenched hands. You carry the quiet assumption that closeness is optional and results are not. That prayer belongs in the margins while the real work happens in the middle. Jesus speaks into that pattern with one steady sentence. "Remain in me, as I also remain in you." No branch can bear fruit by itself. It must remain in the vine. Neither can you bear fruit unless you remain in me. John 15:4. He is not handing you a slogan. He is naming how life works when you want fruit that lasts. Craftsmanship of the soul. Building a life that stays close. If you want a picture that fits modern leadership, think craftsmanship. Think about the difference between a cheap shortcut that looks fine for a week and a piece built with care that holds up under weight. The craft is not only what people see. The craft is what is hidden, reinforced, aligned, and tested. Connection is not a feeling you chase. It is a practice you build. Remaining is not spiritual fog or forced inspiration. It is trained attention. It is choosing, again and again, to keep your inner world turned toward Jesus while your outer world stays busy. It is noticing the moment you reach for control and treating that moment like a signal to return. This is where obedience becomes a gift instead of a threat. Obedience is not you paying God back. It is you staying in the path where His love gives life. When Jesus calls you to obey, He is not trying to trap you in rules. He is trying to keep you close enough to keep growing. Stay attached before you stay impressive. If you want that line to become real, treat it like a shop standard. When you feel the urge to perform, ask, "What am I trying to prove right now?" Say the answer out loud to God in plain language. Do not polish it. Do not justify it. Honesty is often the first turn back toward closeness. Early morning desk practices. Micro moments that keep you connected. Picture your early morning desk. The house still holds its quiet. Your coffee sits there like a small mercy. Your screen glows with unfinished threads, and your mind starts to rehearse everything that could go wrong. This is where you choose what powers you. Do not overcomplicate it. Put both hands on the desk and pray a sentence you actually mean, not the one you think you should say. Jesus, I am here. Keep me close today. Then read John 15:4 slowly. Let the words press against your urge to self-manage. After that, pick one clear act of obedience you will carry into the day. One call you need to make. One apology you have been delaying. One truth you need to speak without edge. As you step into work, carry a small reconnect habit that fits inside real life. Before a meeting, sit still for 10 seconds and unclench your jaw. Before you hit send on the message that could escalate things, pause and ask, "Is this coming from fear or from love?" Before you walk into the room, whisper, "Lead me," and mean it. You will not feel steady every hour, but you can keep a returning every hour. Cash flow pressure without panic. Remaining when the numbers talk loud. Now let us name a pressure point that makes even mature leaders feel exposed. Cash flow pressure. It is late morning, and you are staring at the account balance and the payroll date. You refresh the screen, then refresh it again, as if anxiety can summon provision. In your head, you start writing the story before the day has even unfolded. If the client delays, if the payment does not land, if the next project does not close fast enough, then what? Your mind runs ahead, and your body follows with a tight chest and shallow breathing. This is where you can slip into the kind of obedience that looks faithful, but is actually fear in religious clothing. You tell yourself you will trust God, but what you really do is avoid the hard conversation, postpone the decision, and carry the stress alone so no one questions your leadership. You act calm in public and spiral in private. Remaining does not deny the spreadsheet. Remaining keeps the spreadsheet in its place. So do the next right thing in a way that keeps you close to Jesus. Say, "Jesus, I am scared," and do not soften it. Then take one concrete step that moves you toward clarity. Call the client and ask for the payment timeline without accusation. Review expenses and cut what is not needed without self-hatred. Ask a trusted advisor to look at the numbers with you. Make a plan you can explain, then go eat lunch like a human. Cash flow pressure will tempt you to trade integrity for quick relief. Remaining makes a different kind of leader. Not a leader who never feels stress, but a leader who does not let fear run the shop. You might still feel the weight, but you will not have to carry it in isolation. Fruit that looks like character, relationships shaped by remaining. John 15:4 is not only about what you produce, it is about what gets shaped in you while you produce it. Business can reward speed, sharpness, and nonstop motion. Jesus forms patience, kindness, and clean motives. That difference shows up first in your closest relationships. Disconnection always leaks into the way you treat people. When you live on your own strength, people become pressure points. You snap at your spouse because your team missed a detail. You grow short with your kids because your mind never left the inbox. You stop listening and start managing conversations like projects. Even your helpfulness can become a way to stay needed so you feel secure. Remaining changes the source you draw from. You stop asking other people to carry what only Jesus can carry. You apologize sooner because your identity is not hanging by a thread. You slow down enough to hear what someone is actually saying. You speak truth without the extra bite that comes from being tired and scared. If you want a lived next step here, choose one relationship and practice closeness inside it this week. Before you walk into that conversation, take one breath and pray, "Jesus, keep me present." Then do one loving thing that costs you something small. Put your phone down, ask a question, and wait for the answer. Admit where you have been distracted. Where life and business meet, leading from connection, not performance. At the intersection of life and business, the temptation stays the same. Make fruit happen through force. Keep the machine moving. Hide your limits. Make sure everyone thinks you have it together. But Jesus is not recruiting you into image management. He is inviting you into lived dependence. Remaining is not stepping away from responsibility. Remaining is how you carry responsibility without becoming brittle. When you lead from connection, your calendar becomes a tool instead of a whip. Your team becomes people instead of tasks. Your clients become neighbors instead of numbers. You still pursue excellence, but you do it without needing applause to feel okay. You still make hard calls, but you do it with a softer inner posture. So here is what this looks like in the next 7 days. Give Jesus the first minutes at your early morning desk before you give away your attention. Build one intentional pause into the middle of your workday, especially before decisions with emotional weight. When cash flow pressure rises, take one integrity-first action within 24 hours. In your closest relationships, practice presence by praying a sentence before you speak and listening without rehearsing your reply. Your fruitfulness is not your job. Your staying close is. Choose one moment today to stop performing and return to Jesus.